cool.
There we go. Now we're out there. I need to get my I gotta make it public. I gotta do that thing. So bear with me. You got a little breeze going out there, Joe? Sounds like it's sounds like you got some breeze going on.
We do now, but for about an hour we did not. The mosquitoes were terrifying.
So it's a nice breeze. It's a nice
Yes.
breeze.
Now we're in good shape, I think.
That's good. That's good. How late do you stay out fishing when you go out on a school night? Or is it Thursday night not a school night because it's Thirsty Thursday?
Well, my kids are at the X, so I'm kid free until tomorrow afternoon, so I can stay out as late as I need to.
Shit, as long as they're biting.
That's it.
Biting.
That's it. We're slow right now, but we'll see what happens.
Do you get a is there like a night bite? Like is there a known magic hour where it's like, oh, we gotta stay out here till at least 10, 11 because this is when they turn on, or is it just kind of random? No,
generally it's all tidal dependent. So this week's tough because we have a king tide with a full moon.
I hate that.
So it's really high and all the grass gets covered. So your bait, your redfish can get way back, and there's so much more water that we can't cover on a king tide. So this is more of a hope something comes through evening, but ideally, if we can get an outgoing or incoming tide mid-stage from say 10 to 1 in the morning,
like you want to get
some. Yeah, you get some nice bull reds this time of year.
Ooh, baby! What
time did you guys launch today, Joe?
What was that, about 2:33? Yeah, right around there. It was dead low tide, so I was able to get a lot of bait fish as far as mullet, but we couldn't find pogies anywhere.
Really?
Nope. And then
wild.
It was slow at dead low tide, so we decided to go after the teats fish, the good old sheep's head, and lost a few nice ones. But we got, I don't know, what, 6 or 8, something like that.
Do you keep them? What do you keep? What goes in the live well?
Well, the sheep's head are actually fantastic, and Jimmy was the one that kind of got me hooked on that.
Yeah.
If you boil them and cut them in 1-inch fillets, they taste just like crab legs.
Oh,
just like it. It's good.
It's
good stuff.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys get any of the meat from Mexico for the sheep's head?
No. So I ended up, I don't know if you forgot it, Dan. I ended up with a halibut fillet. Did you have more than one?
I just left a bunch in there for you.
I got it. Took it home, gave some away, and still have a bunch left.
Just have a pile of it.
I know. It's good though.
Yeah, I got to do a fish
Fantastic.
fry. Got to get a fish fry going.
I'm curious to know how it would taste fried.
Yeah.
I bet it tastes like batter and oil and awesomeness.
Probably.
That's my prediction. For those tuning in or catching the podcast later, we're doing a little bonus drop tonight. We're talking fishing trip because the B.O.O.B.s here, the business owner outdoor badasses, if you will, did a little Mexico trip, and we're missing our fourth. I said we had a quartet. I don't know where that Jeremy Jennings guy is. It is his dinner time. He's probably like finishing dinner.
It is.
But we did a little escapade down through San Diego down to Cedros Island. Did we ever figure out, is it Cedros Island or Cedros Island? Or is it whatever the heck you want to call it?
Did somebody call it Cedros? Because I always went Cedros.
I went Cedros, but I heard some of the gringos say Cedros.
I think it's Cedros technically, but Cedros is easier for the gringo to say. I agree.
Based on the 3 years of high school Spanish I took, I would bet a lot of money at Cedros.
But I would too.
It makes sense.
I took 2 years of it, but only passed one of those years, so I'm not one to comment on it.
So is that like 1.5 years then? Does that count for 1.5?
Yeah, I mean, I showed up. That's half the battle, right?
That's actually, I've heard that's 90% of it. So you should get 1.9. You got 1.9.
I mean, you already got your name for down there with Yawn, so
yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, we got to nickname us for next year. I don't know what we're gonna do there.
I didn't think of it until now when you said Jan, but we probably could have had a little thing when I hooked up. Could have been like, "Oh, Jan is on." Could have been
yes,
the rhyme going. Yeah,
We should do more lives next year on the boat.
Oh yeah, there was just like no signal once you got away from the island.
No.
That would be the hard part. I don't think I had any signal. I don't recall having a signal.
No.
Just enough battery to take a bunch of pictures.
Yep.
I didn't. Did you guys get a good video or picture of probably a video of all the bait fish boiling?
I did.
Yeah. Can you drop that in the group? I don't know if I grabbed one.
Yeah, I'll send that over.
Here comes the fourth wheel. We got the quartet now.
Oh, he's finally out of bed. I forget that West Coast time.
Oh, I made it.
Had to take a nap. Had to take a nap. Yeah.
I know. Dipping into my nap time, fellas.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jeremy. Sorry to have to wake you up. Sorry to have to wake you up like that.
The guy that catches the most fish just rolls in last.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. Well, he kind of earned it with that last yellowtail. Yellowtail.
He did. Yeah. Definitely got lucky on that one. Was not expecting that guy.
I don't believe in luck. I'm not buying it. You're out there, you got a line in the water, you know what you're doing, you know how to reel a fish in. I bet I would say 75% of fishermen would not have landed that fish. I think at least 75% of fishermen would not have landed that fish.
Yeah, especially on that gear. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Well, like 50% of fishermen just wouldn't have landed the fish. Of the 50% that would have, half of those wouldn't have landed it on that gear.
Well, you see, it was a team effort because had we not kept wetting his net gator, he probably would have gave out.
That's right. Yeah, you just would have collapsed. Right.
Yeah.
I was over there pouring Tecate lights in his mouth, dripping it in there so he had some energy to go.
Practically water. Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say? Did I say water? I thought I said Tecate light. Water.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, it's electrolyte.
Mexican water.
It's electrolyte water. It's like Gatorade, just tastes like beer. That's all it is. That's all that was.
That was awesome.
Do you so for the folks tuning in, we did Jeremy lives down in San Diego, so he only had to like catch the flight from there, but Jimmy and Joe are out in North Carolina. I'm coming from Minnesota, so we flew down to San Diego, got down there the day before. Is this normal how we did this, where, and I think it is where we did it, but I don't know anywhere else in the world where you go to the border and then like go through an airport on your side, on the US side, you walk across into the Mexico side and then board a plane in Mexico. Is there anywhere like maybe in Europe somewhere you do that? That like blew my mind.
Yeah.
That we like checked in on the US side and then like hiked it over the wall and then got on a plane on the other side. It was a bit of a trip.
Yeah, it's the only one that I know of, at least, definitely here in the States, maybe over in Europe, but they usually take trains when they're hopping countries over there.
That's true. Has it always been like that? Where you cross the border like that? Is that
no? So they opened that, I would say 15 years ago, give or take, right around there. And it was a big, it was a big thing because before that, you had to actually go across the border, like in Tijuana, and deal with like being downtown Mexico and a whole bunch of people coming up to you trying to sell you Chick-fil-A's and all this stuff, and a million taxis, and you got to drive through all these crazy streets like Mario Kart and stuff, and then bam, you're at the airport. It was pretty crazy. But nowadays, like you said, before we used to be able to check our bag. Actually, we would check it on the U.S. side, just like you would check into the airport. Walk down the hallway, the magic hallway, and you cross this border, and all of a sudden you're going into the airplane part. Like it was amazing.
I was surprised, and you kind of called it out, Jeremy. You're like, yeah, look at this shithole. And it was like an immaculate airport.
Well, and everybody's got to remember that we were like Jeremy's little kids through the whole thing. He told us where to go. He told the captain where to fish. He guided us and held our hand through the whole airport, getting on the plane. And, the host was great.
Yeah, you did a good job. Our guide that guided the guide.
Yep.
Jeremy.
Yep.
Hey, Jeremy, I saw I saw on the Baja fishing page where you friended Pato that is really, his name is Javier.
Yep. That's usually how it works in Mexico.
I sent him a friend request too, and we're cool now. So
that's awesome.
So is his name Javier and his nickname is Pato, or is his name Pato and his nickname is Javier, or is it like a first name, middle name type of situation? How's that work?
So I fishing with lots of captains in many parts of Mexico. Their nickname his nickname's gonna be Pato, and that came we grew up being a deckhand fishing with somebody and somebody called him that. And then like it stuck with them. And that's like their name. You go down there and you ask for that captain, you ask for him by that name. If you ask for him by like the real name, they ain't gonna know who you're talking about.
Yeah, nobody knows that guy. Oh, you mean this might not be the same, but you remember that guy Jan that was out on the boat?
That's your deckhand name.
Yeah, that's my butt catching name. When I'm slaying butts, I go by Jan.
That's right.
Jan was chasing butts in Cedros.
With the soft J, right? With the soft J.
Soft J. Yeah. That the one Uber driver, he was sold 100% that I was Canadian and my name was Jan. And I was a maple syrup dealer. That was all I did was drink. I didn't drink water. I drank beer and maple syrup.
Molson and Labatt's.
Yep. Beer and maple syrup. Give me we got to do a little round robin here of just like highlights or lowlights. I don't know that there's a lot of lowlights, but Jimmy, hit us. Give us a highlight for you for the trip.
Honestly, man, probably Jeremy's last fish was just intense. I mean, especially catching it on, just so I can paint a picture here. You've got your bass gear, your largemouth bass gear, and Jeremy landed a 44-pound fish on that had him pinned to the bottom for probably 30 minutes. It was insane. It was super exciting. I joked with him like, you got bottom. And Jeremy's over there sweating his balls off, and just to watch him be able to pull that up, we all got to take pictures with it, man. It was just, that was the light of it, really. And we caught lots of great fish. It was just, that was the coolest, because that was the biggest one caught of the whole trip. And mind you, there's probably like 7 other 8 boats fishing every day. So that was cool that our boat, even though it wasn't me or Joe or Dan, that Jeremy, our boat, was able to get the biggest fish of the trip. That was super cool for me.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. We did get the big dog, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of those younger guys that were there, they were definitely jealous. Like their attitude changed the last day when we were leaving. They were just like, "Good job, man. Good job."
Yeah. Good job.
There were some young shit talkers running around, but they were fun. They were good. Yeah. They were really good at shit talking too. They were very well skilled shit talkers. I was impressed.
They've been practicing a while on the boats, definitely.
Yeah. There's no shortage. They learn a lot of things to say. How
about you, Joe? I'd say
go ahead.
I'll top it off. The only thing I'd say that was negative is I wish there were a couple more cushions on the boat, because my back is still not right after riding up on the bow.
That was just the first day. That was just the first day when you were up there just getting hammered.
Dude, oh my God. Like still stiff. But other than that, I mean, fantastic.
That's your low light. That's the low light.
Yeah, that's the low light.
That's a fair low light. What you got, Joe? What's your highlight and low light?
We'll do the low lights first, which luckily they can be fixed. One's Tecate, so we'll fix that for next year. We've got that figured out. The other one would probably be me going a day earlier just to get caught up on the time change. That whooped my ass for about 2 days.
That was rough.
That was rough. So coming back, didn't notice the difference. But going over there, it took me a couple days to get used to that. Of course, we just jumped up at 4:30 in the morning, day one, and rocked. So that was a little tricky. But other than that, as far as the plus sides to all of it, in my opinion, and I fish all over the place, but when we go offshore here, it's flat, it's boring. Out there, if you catch something or you don't, the scenery alone is just freaking phenomenal.
Oh, it's nuts.
Just the atmosphere of the people, the scenery there. I mean, that's an everyday thing that you would not get sick of.
It is crazy, the topography. Just a mountain just pops up into the ocean. A legit mountain just comes out of the ocean. Just like that.
200 feet of water just the second you start leaving. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah. She drops
nuts.
Quick. Was that a highlight? Did you give us a highlight yet? Besides,
that's my highlight. Just the topography, just being out there in that area. I mean, the fish are there, so that's not a surprise. Jeremy helped get us all on the spots tremendously, but as far as the fishing, that's just a no-brainer. It's going to always be good no matter what you're doing. But the people were great. The food was amazing. I mean, I think we all can say that.
Phenomenal.
But just like I said, just seeing that scenery in the background, no matter what you're doing or catching, is phenomenal.
That's crazy. It was crazy. Hit us, Jeremy. What you got?
Man, I said it many times on the trip. It's like fishing California before people got there.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Like it was everything that I know around here fishing, but down there it's times 10. It's just fish were just bigger, but the same hunting that, because when we're fishing, we're hunting. We're not, like you said, there's not a lot, there is luck involved, but you are looking at topography, where the drop-offs are, where the kelp beds are, where the birds are diving, it's all the same stuff that all of us know as a fisherman that you look for, just times 10 down there. It was freaking amazing. Like that was,
I gotta imagine those bait balls are times 10 of anything you would see outside of California. Like,
yeah. Like I would say the biggest like single bait ball that I've seen, maybe like 100 yards circle.
Yeah.
So I've seen some pretty big ones, but those are usually way offshore. Bluefin tuna got them going. They're all scrunched in, into a thing. But like close to shore like that, I mean,
the one I felt like we were a quarter mile offshore.
Yeah,
and like maybe that far, and it was hundreds of yards of just bait sounding like rain.
Yeah,
everywhere. I would, if J-Dog's got that friendship now for next year, make the request to Javier, Pato, whoever he may be, to have the fish finder, the Simrad, actually functioning would be fantastic.
Yeah.
It worked for a half a day.
We broke it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got too many. We're on too many fish.
Yeah.
That was what it was.
It's so we
the
can't
sea
handle
lions
this.
cut his wires probably.
Yeah, that might have been the low light. But that was so cool. Was there a low light, so to speak? I mean, it's not like a low light, it's like a lower light.
Yeah, I mean, again, losing the macro Rapala,
Oh
yeah, you were pissed about that.
Pretty bad.
Did we decide, was that a shark, or you just think it was an 80-pound yellowtail?
No, I think it was a shark. I mean,
I think
That's so funny because I forgot about that already. And he was like, bam.
Yeah, it wasn't your bait. You just forgot about it because it wasn't your bait.
No, this was our lucky one, man. The lure was working good. It was swimming sexy, and
when I saw it, I was like, "The fuck is that? Like, that's just a random ass looking bait." And then when I saw the mackerels, I was like, "Oh damn, that is like the bait. That looks exactly like this bait." There's a reason why they kept liking that one.
Yep, match the hatch.
Yeah, dude, they were all.
Well,
Joe and Dan
switched it up
constantly on the double hookups on the Rapalas was great.
I mean, that had nothing to do with the baits. That was just Joe conjuring it up. That was just Joe just said, like, we about to get a double. And then, I mean, the first one was within 3 seconds of you saying that.
It was insane.
And the next day, the funny thing, I don't remember if it was Sunday or Monday on the last day when we got the next one on the double. And I think we had live mackerels out that when we got the second double up.
I think so.
And we weren't getting bites. Like, they're fish round, but we weren't getting bites. Yet Joe and Jan still doubled up. Like just out of nowhere, just manifested a double up. Did I call the second double up?
You were on the second one. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like I might have called the second one. And I didn't really believe it. I just felt like it was a necessary thing to call. Like, it just felt like it was the right time to call it.
Now, to one up that is if we can pull it off, say, turkey hunting or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could make a double up on a turkey happen.
I think so.
I feel like now we never did double up on a butt though.
Nope.
We never did. I think we tried to call a double up on a butt, but maybe we were just saying that because it sounded funny. But we never did. Who all caught halibut? Did everybody get one?
I lost them all. I lost every single one.
You had a lot of bites from them, though. You had a lot of bites.
I caught one, but you caught almost all of them. Dan.
You did. You were the butt master.
You did. You were the butt master for sure.
Did you catch a butt? Did you haul in a butt?
Nope.
Joe? Huh.
Nope.
I bet what did I 3, 4? How many butts did I haul in? I was in
at least 4.
Yeah, at least 4. Yeah.
I got the butt touch, baby. Maybe
It was the positioning you had at the front of the boat
that had
with the
something to do with
beer, one-handed rod holding,
it. Yep.
just chilling.
Wide open bale with just a thumb on it and a beer in the other hand. And then the minute I felt anything, I was just like, well, I'm just going to sit here and drink the rest of this beer. And then we're just going to see what happens.
Well, now
That's why you
it's
landed
like first thing in the morning. It's like, we're like all like, still kind of waking up. Dan's like, beer time. Well, Dan starts
Yes.
catching fish, and we're all over there struggling. So we're like, I guess it's beer time, and boom, there comes the fish. The guy's
after
on
5. It was after 5 when I cracked my first beer.
That's true. Yeah, after 5.
So that's what I've been told to go by. That's when happy hour starts, after 5 a.m.
You getting any bites out there, Joe? Anymore?
I pulled off the inshore slam today with trout, flounder, and redfish, but nothing with size.
Hey, that's
And
good.
yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, the king tides here really jacked this up. And I'll be honest, when we flew out and that hurricane came through here or whatever, this water is horrendous. I mean, it's bad. It's real bad. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to take a few weeks.
Need some real stinky baits for muddy water like that.
You're right. And I couldn't find any pogies today for netting. I netted a bunch of mullet and that was it. So, yeah, usually October, end of this month through September, October, the big bull reds will start showing up. They're showing up towards where Jimmy fishes, but they're not quite here yet. So hopefully we start getting into them here in the next week or two.
You know what you got to do, Joe? You got to take, did you say it's mullet that you got?
Yep.
It's mullet.
Yep.
You just got to do what Jimmy does with his rod. You just got to drop trout, get it in your sack sauce and rub it around down in there, get some stank on it, and then cast it out. That has to work.
Not the butt, baby.
That's
Thank
this
you.
stuff. If you can see it, hold on.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
it is.
Mullet super gel.
Yeah. You can't beat the Procure, man.
Gel it up.
Does anybody use anything like that in Cali on like swim baits and stuff, Jeremy?
Yeah. There's like it's like a butter. They call it something. There's some like name for it, nutter butter or something like that. That's
for Dan.
people will put on
or
the plastics.
Flounder.
Flounder.
Oh, yeah.
Pounder. Nice.
They named that very appropriately. They did a really good job with that. I'm proud of them. I had to think about I was thinking low lights and highlights earlier, and I had to think hard about a low light. But I'll say honestly, like when we got there and we went out, we were in 3-footers that were like climbing to 4-footers, and the wind was picking up, and we were getting like pretty tossed in that panga, and we weren't getting shit for bites. And I was like, okay, like I can do this out on Lake Michigan for salmon. I can go bounce around out there for hours and not get bites. Oh, is Joe doing something? Joe, are you doing something? Are you going to get one? Are you going to do something?
He's got a bite.
I had to change a few things up.
Oh, there you go.
Just trying to make sure his rod and reel doesn't get pulled in the water again.
I got the big stuff on tonight. We're good.
There you go.
Well, they probably won't bite that.
You're not going Jeremy Jennings style, like half undersized for what you get.
That's how you catch big fish, is fish with undersized equipment. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
You're right.
Like,
Proven.
He's competing for like most interesting man in the world type of shit.
Every time on Joe's boat, when the big fish hit, it's always like on the smallest pink girly spinning rod, which is his fiance Heather's rod, and it's lucky, and then it got broke. And I was like, you got to buy another one because that thing was the lucky rod, and hopefully
we did.
Still be
that was that curse of that ultralight that just snapped in like 4 places on you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was my bass rod. I said, hold my beer and watch this.
But it's true, man. I mean, the biggest fish that I've ever caught in my life was on 40-pound stick by same thing, same type of accident. I caught a skipjack or bonita, whatever they call it down there in Mexico. And I was reeling it in. I saw a big old hammerhead coming, so I started reeling really fast because I didn't want to catch a big old shark. And it stops. I let it eat. Damn it! Yeah, so we thought it was a shark the whole time, like a big. I mean, it's like 8 foot. We're in a panga. We're following it around. I mean, This thing doesn't even know it's hooked. We're just following it around for like 40. We were so close to shore. We were Facebook Live. I can send you the video. You guys can watch this. The biggest fish I ever caught in my life on 40 pound. It was on a Therese Shimano, the light blue Therese mono Shimano rod. It was on that one, dude. And reeled it in. And after a while, I'm like telling him, hey man, we're getting spooled. He's like, so we chase it down a little bit, get some line back, and I get mad because now we're like 45 minutes into this fight, and I'm pissed off that it's a shark and we're wasting our time, So I just start yanking on it, getting all mad at it. It gets pissed off, and it's like, what is this happening?
Yeah.
And a black marlin, 500-pound black marlin jumps out of our stern, just
damn.
Oh, I didn't even have a belt on at the time because we thought it was a shark. And they're like, oh, everybody starts yelling, put the belt on. It was crazy. Ponga's phone starts ringing and all that. But we ended up landing that landing that fish, getting it to leader. We let it live, we let it go. But same thing, like that light line, man, they like it.
Hell yeah.
Was that in Cabo?
Yeah.
That's a riot, dude. That's a freaking riot.
Yeah, the thing was bigger than the boat we were on when we got it boat side. I was like, it was the most beautiful animal I've ever seen. I said, we're letting this go. Let's break the line off. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
How big is a 500-pound marlin? Like I can't.
It's like 2.5 of me wide, and then like 2.5 of me tall. It's pretty much what it works out to be, not counting the bill. They're so like freaking. It's crazy. Like
shit. I suppose. Because you're only like 130 pounds dripping wet, so yeah.
But
when you say it like that, it's got to be twice. It's twice your size.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
no shit.
And their tails are so big because it's a propeller for that big ass animal, So their tails are just freaking so wide. It's crazy.
Is that like I don't know my marlins? Is that just a freaking mega whopper marlin? Like just regardless of the tackle you caught it on?
Yeah. So just catching a black marlin is very rare in general. It's the largest marlin that's out there, and one of the hardest to catch. They get up to 1,500, maybe 2,000 pounds sometimes. Yeah, but usually it's freaking out in Africa to find those. I mean, I think the biggest one ever landed in Cabo was like 1,400 pounds, give or take, maybe almost 1,500. So they do get big. They are the bigger of the family. It goes you have the white marlin, striped marlin, blue marlin, and then black marlin are the biggest.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
That is freaking bonkers. I thought your 44-pound yellowtail was
what was cool is we were Facebook Live before the hookup. Like we were there. Yeah. It was me and Igor. Like we're on this little ponga. We're just like Facebook Live making content, having fun fishing, and then it got real quick.
Yeah. Got this shark on. We're just screwing around. Oh, the shark just turned into a black marlin. Oh God. Yeah. Okay, we got to go. We're gonna set this down. Yeah. I had so one of the things I like to do when we like reminisce about these trips is there's always a bunch of like business lessons tied within that makes me reflect on why we like to do this crazy shit. And I think there's a lot that ties into why we like to run businesses, which is also some crazy ass shit. And so I think about us going out that first day. And it would have been really easy to be like, let's just go in, right? Let's, we're getting our asses kicked. Why keep fishing? And I actually had this discussion with my nephews that are like 10 and 12 or maybe 11 and 13 now. And I was just telling them like, when you're fishing and they're not biting, like unless it's unsafe, the way to catch fish is to just keep figuring it out. Like you just keep grinding, you keep searching. We were out on Lake Michigan when I'm going back out salmon fishing Monday because the weather changed and we got the boat. And so we're going back out to actually like catch some damn salmon. But the time that I like posted when I was out there, we ended up perch fishing and we like perch fished for 2 hours with nothing to show for it. Caught like a smallie or two. And the nephews were, they're young. And so I just am glad we're out fishing, but they're like, we're going to catch some fish. What are we doing here? And I'm like, dudes, this is how fishing goes. If and when we get on them and you think about this trip, you're going to think about the fish we caught, not the 3 hours we spent searching for it. Hunting is the same. Fishing is the same. Business is the same. Like you work your ass off. And in hindsight, you just remember the moments, right? And so we were out there, and like I said, my low light was we're out there just like getting our asses kicked. And mentally, it's like, damn. Like I was expecting to just be like, even in big seas, I was just thinking there's just fish jumping in the boat out here. What are we doing? And we went in and we kept searching. And I think you saw some birds, Jeremy, and you're like, we got to try, like, we're out here to fish. Let's try this spot. And I mean, I think it was the first or second cast that I got a yellowtail. And I don't remember how many we ended up with.
Yeah.
But I think
that first day I think we had 5 that first day, that half day.
We got 5, and that doesn't count the one that and I don't know if I should be upset or not. Like that was a big ass yellowtail as far as I'm concerned. And Pato tried to concuss it. He didn't try. I'm pretty sure he was just trying to knock it out. I think he took 3 swings at it and missed it every time. I don't know exactly how to gaff. I'm sure I've gaffed a fish in my life, but not many.
Joe and I were looking at each other like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Yeah, I felt the gaff hit my line multiple times. And he would try to get, and he would do this, like he was like scooping ice cream really fast, just bam, 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 like. So I'm pretty sure he was either trying to knock the fish off or to knock it out, because he kept swinging right at its head, right where the bait was, and we missed that fish, which is like a bummer, but it was also like there you go, got the gaff on the screen, Captain Hook over there. And so, but like it was the whole experience of it was still freaking awesome though. And it wasn't like we needed the meat. We had plenty of meat. We were throwing other fish back later in the trip. And I think here's a conspiracy theory. Maybe not a conspiracy. It's like a half conspiracy theory. Joe got a fish that was super similar in size to the one that I lost, and it came in really easy. I'm pretty sure my fish. I'm pretty sure I tired that son of a bitch out, and then it was like, and it did like a sympathy bite of Joe's, and then just kind of came right on in. And so I think like there was some karma involved that we still got the fish. I got a picture with it. I'm telling myself a story. I'm 90% sure that was my fish. I'm glad Joe caught it because we doubled up on everything else besides butts. The only thing we didn't double up on was butts. But I think that was my highlight was and again, I like to relay it to business because we all go through this stuff where like it's a churn, it's a grind. Right now, for a lot of people, it's the summer lull, and like work is hard to come by for a lot of folks right now. And we just keep our heads down and we just keep fighting and figure it out and problem solve. And then all of a sudden, if we have the tenacity and the grit to like stick to it, we get it, right? Like eventually we get the success, but it doesn't come fast and it doesn't come easy. And it goes to the people that stay in it the longest and keep fighting the longest. And so I felt like we were some of the people that stayed out there, figured it out, fought the longest, and all of a sudden, like boom, boom, boom. And we got on them. I think, Jimmy, I don't remember, you were the only one at that point that hadn't gotten one, but I think
I didn't get one first day.
Did you hook up on one? I thought maybe you hooked one and we just didn't get it or something.
Nope, I didn't hook up at all first day.
He was.
We were all pumped.
I lost one of those $20 lures first day, and I was like, "Son of a bitch, man!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, like most of the lures I use here in North Carolina, fishing, coastal marsh waters, it's like paddle tails. I buy a pack of 6 of them for like $5. Pack of jig heads is like $4." And now I'm throwing one $20 lure, and I'm like, see, this is why I don't bass fish, because it's cheaper for me to go catch these marsh monsters. And then I go to Cali, and first of all, everything's more expensive there anyway. And then I'm like looking in the tackle shop, and I'm like we all go up to the counter, and it's like Joe is like $200, Dan's like 180, I'm like 150, and I'm like, what did we buy? Like we didn't even walk away with hardly anything. Versus
didn't even get a handy.
I know. Not even the common courtesy, man.
Wait, you didn't?
What?
No, it's because I spent 120 and you spent 200.
Oh.
You gotta spend $80 more to get the.
All I got was the Hawk Tua. I got nothing with it.
I sat in the front of the Uber. That's why.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Dishing out the maple syrup up there in the front of the Uber. What would you guys do anything differently in hindsight? Is there anything where you look back and you're like, oh man, we should have went over here, we should have went out this place, or what? Like I'll start. Any reservations?
But yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you guys already know this.
Yeah.
4 cases of beer. I mean, we're rolling down deep. Like we're hitting the fucking weight limit on the way down and on the way back. Like
Right.
100%. I mean, that I apologize for that. I was not warned about that situation. Otherwise, I would have made sure that wouldn't have happened on this trip. It was my first time.
We could have also gone into town the first night. I think we were also
No, that's all they had in town.
I went into town, and that's
Jimmy
all they
went to
had
town.
was the red and blue Tecate.
That's it.
But you got
at the liquor
Jack.
store. They didn't have. Well, I mean, like we got Jack the second night, but they did at that. You went into town that first night at that store, and they didn't have any booze.
Yeah, Jimmy said they only had like 4 or 5 bottles that first night, and then the second night when they went back in, they had
the
got
first night
restocked.
they were
no more
very
beer.
limited on everything. They were like they didn't even have Jack, and then the night I went, they had the Jack and a couple other things, but all they had was the Tecate Light and I guess the Tecate Heavies. Which I was pissed because it's like I was looking at all the other photos on the Cedros Outdoor Adventures, and I was seeing people with Coronas, Pacifico Claras, and I was like, well, I like both of those. I've never had a Tecate. I didn't know what kind of trash that was. I mean, it was good. It wasn't good.
We took our fair share.
It was beer. You know,
I was gonna say, when it was
drank
iced
it, but
down. When it was iced down, and if you drank it fast enough, it went down fine.
It was incredibly weak. The stuff is like 3% alcohol, so it's basically nothing.
Yeah, it was like 3-4, right? It's basically like Mick Ultra. It's like in the range of a Mick Ultra.
Mick Ultra is stronger than that. Mick Ultra is over 4%, so it's like
3.8.
Dude, this is insane.
Yeah, that was rough.
No wonder why I was so hydrated and I had so much energy. It was electrolyte water. It was just electrolyte water. I don't know. This is like I wish we would have. The first morning we were just slow getting out. I think it was mostly me trying to get a poop out. Everybody else that got out there. I mean, like people had their limits before we got out there, and we still like stacked up some fish. But it sounds like that was the morning everybody slayed them, and the next 2 mornings were way tougher fishing. So in hindsight, I wish I don't know.
Would have pooped earlier, pretty much.
Poops are funny, man. It's like you just like, especially in the morning, you just can't poop right away all the time.
Yeah, you struggled with that.
Yeah. So that was I don't know what I would have done differently.
Yoga. I think maybe you should start with a yoga morning routine.
Do some more yoga.
Help get things flowing.
I probably should have just put in a big dip of Copenhagen right when I woke up and slammed like 3 Tecates, and I bet I like Tecate heavies, like 4.2 percenters.
Big boys.
Big dogs. Yeah, big dogs.
I think you could have probably gotten acquainted with the bow a little bit more too. I mean, you probably could have the edge of it was pretty nice. I mean, you probably could have just
hung my ass over there,
swung it over the side and watched it go down all the way to the bottom 60 feet because you could see that far.
Mm-hmm.
Which was I don't know awesome.
If it would have went out in more of a splatter, it would have been more like chumming. But that might have been helpful. Maybe that would have been a good thing.
Then we could have nicknamed you Splato. Spato.
Pato
with his own flounder pounder.
That's right. Oh man, that was great.
Would have brought the mackerels in. They love that.
No,
probably.
I mean, that operation though, like what they put together for us and for the cost, it was amazing. I mean, I fished in a lot of different places on similar type trips where you got to fly in on planes and do all this like weird little Cessna stuff, and they had it down. I mean, the way they put everything together. I mean, when we didn't have to carry a bag from the time we walked through that CBX when we crossed the border inside the airport. We didn't have to carry a bag or anything. Like from there out, the whole rest of the time until we got back to the airport in Tijuana, I never touched a bag or a tackle box. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was amazing. And the fish quality, I'm really big on my fish quality. Like I'm always like, you saw me on the boat. Hey, make sure we're bleeding them. Let's keep them. Keep them on ice. Like, if we're not doing that, let's bring them back, get them processed. Their quality, the way they took care of those fish, I mean, they are primo processed with the moisture pad in there. With the QR code, I mean, dude, they knocked it out of the park from start to finish. food.
Dude, I think
accommodation.
I've got well over probably 30 pounds in my refrigerator,
Mm-hmm.
and there's only one fillet that has a bloodline in it. Only
That's crazy.
one.
Right.
And that's probably one of the ones that like he had stuck in the fish bag before you got a chance to tell him to bleed it.
Yep.
And the bloodline set in. But yeah, I mean it was phenomenal. And it's like, at least for us on the East Coast, like we flew to San Diego. Now this is like commercial airfare, plus the cost of the trip, for less than it would cost me and Joe here on the East Coast to go offshore a piece for one day.
Yep.
And we went on a 4-day trip, and
In another country.
To a whole nother country. And it was insane and way more beautiful. I mean, like, I've been offshore here, and don't get me wrong, I mean, it's a blast. But just to be able to, and now even here, you're going hours and hours out to get on these fish. We're running like here in, Cedros for 20 minutes, and boom, we're on the fish, which was really cool because you're not burning all that time up to try to get out there and get on these fish, which was great. And they're just so abundant. And I mean, there's like 8 boats fishing in a circle, and you've got like everybody hooked up at once.
That was funny to see. I mean, like, you knew when the fish were around because the bait fish were just going bonkers and getting pushed all over the place. That didn't mean you were catching them, but you knew when they were biting because every boat would have 2 rods bent over. This is like, oh, they got one. Oh, they got another one. Oh, we got one. Oh, they got one.
And the best part is it's your friends. It's your friends on those boats too. Like you're like with your group. It's like you're like, yeah, cheering them on. Everybody's cheering each other on, and that was awesome.
Cool. That was and that is hard to plan unless like you bring a bunch of people. But like all the people that were there was just an awesome network of folks. Everybody brought a little something different to the table. There were a couple people a little more wild cards, which I'm always very entertained by and a lot of fun. A couple people more reserved. I'd like to think we were somewhere in the middle, probably. Maybe
I'd say so. The some of that San Diego crew was a little bit wild.
yeah.
But nobody really got out of control. Besides JJ got pretty sauced the one night. But he
still never got crazy. Like
he was still out fishing the next morning. He was hurting.
He made it till noon. He made it till like 11 o'clock.
Half of the day, but he made the first appointment, and I was proud of him.
Yeah, that was some work. You could tell he was still like he's got to be in his late teens, early 20s for that type of action.
Yeah,
I don't think
he said he was 22, and the dude killed 2/5 of Don Julio in a day. Like, to be able to get on the boat the next morning after being up till 2 a.m. and hit the boat by 5:30. That's dedication, man. I got to give it to him.
Yeah. He was still smashed when he got up. It was at noon when he started getting hung over.
Exactly. They'll learn. It'll catch up to him eventually.
Yep.
There was some cool stuff. Oh, I got another low light. Getting on the plane when we went down there, and I'm like walking down the middle of the plane, and you're in a bit of a sardine can, but it's kind of like 3 wide. And where the wing comes across, there's like a metal bar that dips down, and there maybe used to be a cushion there, but either enough people did what I did, or the cushion just slid due to turbulence. But I hit my head on basically a 90-degree angle of metal, and I still. My wife was like scratching my head the other night, and she's like, "What the hell is this scab?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's from me." And like, it's not like I was walking fast. I don't know how it did so much damage. I must have been like leaning down to get into my seat or something. It's like, you can't. I mean, I'm not a huge dude, and I was doing like this stuff around the seats, right? You're like turning and weave in between the seats to get down the aisle. I could not have been going that fast, but damn, that took a chunk out of my scalp. Yeah. Like. Wow. That really rung my bell. I mean, like, legit, I was just like, woofda. Like, I played football growing up. I got concussed a couple times, and I had to sit there and think for a second, like, am I concussed, or is it just a couple of beers that I slammed in this dip that I put in? Like, I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe I need one more dip to find out. Maybe I'll put one more.
Put you to bed real quick for that now, or for the ride to the island.
You know what? I like the whole flight. I was just enamored by the scenery. Like, because we were low enough, you could see everything.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool looking out. It was just, I mean, Joe, you said it earlier, like the topography down there. I didn't know what to expect, but it's just beautifully mountainous. And it's but it's like desert mountains. It does definitely make you want to go hunt some coos deer and some mule deer and just go trounce around in some sagebrush. But damn, it was cool looking.
Very cool.
I wish we would have seen the muley that whoever filmed going in and out of the ocean and like climbing back up on shore. That'd have been some shit to see.
That was a cool video.
That was the other, is it Cedro Sports Fishing? The ones that are on the other side. They're the ones that posted it. That's who I follow because they actually have their Instagram. Like the other day, they posted that they got their first Dorados. So they're showing up now.
Yeah, they got them right after we left. Pato actually posted a picture with the Dorado like the next trip.
Oh, okay,
nice.
Cool.
Pretty nice one too.
I know Jeremy would have been like, "Oh, Dorado, so boring." But like, I would have been stoked. They're so pretty, just to like hold it, and I'd have like probably like just snuggled with it a little bit, give it a little whisker rub. They're so beautiful.
J-Dog would be like that with anything. It'd be like a 14-foot black marlin. He'd be like, just let it go.
It's cool. I've seen one of those before.
We've got those in San Diego. Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
That's what I told him so many times.
One of my favorite one of my like it's just another, we're just gonna keep hitting highlights. Go as you please. Hit your highlights of like favorite memories. I super enjoyed just getting off the airplane and there's like people waiting for you. It's so hospitable. What's up, Katie? Katie's in the house checking in. What's up, dudes? Says, hey, dudes.
What up?
I super enjoyed, got off the plane, and you don't really know what to expect. You're in Mexico. There's some federales with guns, and you're kind of like, what are we doing here? How do we navigate this? And then somebody's just like, oh, there's the cooler full of beer. And then it's like, who wants a beer? And I'm like, yeah, like I think I had one, and then we were about to take off, and I was like, well, somebody drank most of this one, so probably do me another one. And then we're like standing up in the back of a truck, leaning over, drinking a beer, and just stuff like that always sticks with me. It's like, it's freedom. Like this is what's meant to happen in the world, is people riding, standing up in the back of a truck, holding onto a railing, drinking a beer. I'm from Wisconsin. It's just stuff like that. Just feels like home.
Yeah,
it was like the Mexican rednecks, man. This is like, I was like, oh, I feel at home here. This is great.
Yeah,
that was just cool. And it just made me feel like this is the spot for me. Like I get to ride standing up in the back of a truck, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Drinking a Mexican shitty
Mexican water.
Mexican water. It's actually, they don't even put alcohol in those beers. That alcohol is just in their water.
Yeah,
so that's just tap water.
Yeah, it's like when their water ferments, and it makes alcohol. Like I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Well, see, so we figured out what was the problem with Dan the whole time, because like he got up one night and he was like, "Oh, I'm thirsty," and you had to go into the little kitchen to get the water out of the water jug. They told you to drink it out of the jug. Well, Dan got a little thirsty one night and he went and drank it out of the faucet. So that's probably why his belly was a little screwed up.
I did that one day. I like had to point back to it because I was like, I didn't drink that much, but like my stomach is hurting. And I was like, oh, I took some ibuprofen, but I totally drank the water out of the faucet.
Oh, shit.
It was only like a couple handfuls full, but it like definitely I was feeling something, and I was like, if it was a hangover, I'd feel it, up here, and it body, whatever. I was like, this is just pure stomach. But and sometimes that happens too when you like, especially when you go to a different country and you're eating other food, you get that. So maybe it was something to do with that. But for sure, I was like, yeah, I did definitely drink some of that water without really thinking about it, and I regret it.
Was that the day we dropped you off the dock for a little while?
Yep.
Yeah, I had to run back. It was that morning that I had a slurp of water, and then it was that afternoon where I was like, you know what? I should probably, you want to drop me off at the dock, and I'm just gonna run back up and see what's happening up at the camp for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The food was all phenomenal, though. I mean, I'm not much for raw fish and stuff of that. I do like sushi and things of that nature, but everything they had was fantastic.
the ceviche and the sashimi, if I get my words right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it was off the charts, man. And I'm not a raw fish dude. I shouldn't say I'm not a raw fish dude. Anytime that something's like undercooked or not cooked like that, I just don't trust it unless I caught it or unless I killed it. It's a trust thing, and it's a pride thing, and it's a I know where that came from thing.
Yep.
And so there's just something different about it. But I'm for sure gonna look up their recipes for that and make some of that at my house. My wife loves sushi and stuff like that. I'm sure it won't be as good if I make it, and it probably won't be as good thawed after being frozen. But damn, that stuff was good. I'm like craving it.
Dude, it was, and I'll tell you what I was really surprised about. Like, I've never eaten bonita before, and the first night we were there, like, I've always been told bonita's trash fish, don't eat it. I actually preferred the ceviche with the bonita over the yellowtail. Like, it was phenomenal. Like, it was really good.
Yep. As long as you bleed it, the bonita, as long as you bleed it right when you catch it and you keep it cold, like then it's primo. It's great.
Dude, it's seriously good. Like, I wish I had some bonita to carry back just for ceviche. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's so good.
I feel like a lot of that happens with fish, though, where certain fish get a weird rap, like they're garbage fish. And then once you figure out how to treat it or how to cook it, it changes everything, right? And in wild game, that happens all the time. It happens with freaking ungulates, too, where people just think it's garbage. And then once you learn how to treat it and how to cook it, it can be freaking amazing. Just you usually hear it's garbage from people that don't know how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot too. At least for around here, marlin gets a bad stigma. You know, we release majority of the billfish that we catch. You know, but we'll harvest one per trip, and it's like a blue, I should say, a blue marlin. You know, they're just the taste that you get so much meat off of one fish. It's awesome ceviche. You can smoke it. You can cook steaks out of it. I mean, it's very, very tasty, but it gets a bad stigma. Like if I had a freezer full of blue marlin, I brought it back here and hey, homies, I got some fish. Like, come on over and grab it. Like, what marlin? All the Mexicans will be lining up. Dude, they're like, yeah, they know what's up. They're like, all like my homies from here are like, oh man, is it smoked? Like, what's going on with it? Like, you're like, oh, man, it's fine. But
it's just funny. It is cultural like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not that it tastes different anywhere else. No. It's just what we're told. Yeah. We just believe what somebody else told us, and so we believe something tastes not good because somebody somewhere told us it doesn't taste good.
Exactly. And when I noticed was like when we catch a blue down there, and like, hey, it's the deckhand's birthday. They're gonna have a party. Is it okay if we harvest this one for your trip? I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm not gonna eat that. It's a marlin. But then he finally gave me a steak and was like, here, take this to the restaurant. And I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
How did you now what was the recipe that you guys used? Can I get that in writing? Are you
yeah. No, but all of it's really good. It's like a white meat, really similar like a swordfish, type of steak. Not as firm, but
just like bald eagle. Every time I've eaten bald eagle. I'm joking, obviously, but this is not a joke. There was a article in my hometown's newspaper. This was like 2 decades ago. A dude got just like incarcerated for poaching illegal game. And it was like bald eagles, blue herons, just like all kinds of shit that's just like off limits. And so the article actually included an interview. Like the article was interviewing him about why he did it and what he all shot and blah, blah, blah. And so and I shit you not, it was just the best form of media journalism I've ever seen. The author, journalist, or whatever you want to call him, had asked him, so what does blue heron taste like anyway? And the guy's answer, and this was the last thing that the article said, the guy's answer was, oh, a lot like bald eagle. The end. That was how the article ended. I was just like, that's such a brilliant piece.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like satire, but it's true. So it's even funnier. And it's just the fact that it was a quote and he ended on it is just like, oh man. Like that guy was just at the level of like, well, I'm going to jail, so let's just finish finish strong here.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, you're going to jail. I might as well make it awesome, you know.
Yeah, finishing strong.
Yep. Go out with a good finish.
Heck yeah. I do want to ask you guys this: why didn't you guys get in the hot tub at Sadro? So why was I hot tub's not?
Because you said it was the cold tub the first.
Why didn't you guys get in the warm tub? Why didn't you guys get in the warm tub?
I've got a hot tub at the house that's at 103, so that's what I expect.
I told my wife the other day about the inflatable hot tub that you had showed me, and
Yes.
there was some interest. There was an interest level going on. So the plot is might be owning. Jan and his wife might be owning a inflatable hot tub in the future.
A Giannis tub to catch some more butts.
Mm-hmm. That's a different kind of butt.
In the next episode of Adventures
I like
of Jan.
Yeah, I like them all. I like all the butts. Any other high? Oh, I got one more highlight. No, you guys go with the highlight. I'm gonna save my highlight. You guys got any other highlights that come to mind?
I mean, just having you guys come out, man, it was awesome. You know, just being able to make a immediate decision within like 2 or 3 weeks and be like, hey, let's go. I got this thing going. It's a trip of a lifetime. And you guys all made it, dude. That was awesome.
That was pretty sweet. As you say that, it brings me back to my immediate reaction was like, fuck, there's no way I'm going to be able to go on this. I was just like, this sounds so cool. And I just got to fish with you at the Clippa convention down there, but we didn't crush it. Right. I was talking to somebody and they're like, Rob Anderson last night was giving me a hard time about it. I was like, I don't know, man. I think I caught the most fish on that boat. I think I outfished 60 other motherfuckers. I think I caught the most. It was like two or three.
But more than everybody.
But I think I caught more than everybody. I didn't think I was going to be able to go. Just I got like a 2-week long elk hunting trip coming up, and then I have like another week in November where I'm gone and work travel stuff. But luckily, and I didn't appreciate this at the time, but my wife has traveled like 9 out of 12. My wife is gone right now, solo parenting. She's traveled 9 out of 12 weeks this summer. And so in hindsight, thank God she did, because if she didn't, she probably would have not been cool with me going. But when I brought it up, she's like, yeah, I think we can make that work. Even though, like, legit, I got back and the minute I landed, like, I got home and it was like, high five, see you later. She was leaving for 2 days. So it was legit. It's like, what's up? Okay, bye. See ya. Where are you headed? She was going to a work conference somewhere. But damn, the timing worked out perfect.
We were on the boat, were we not, when he asked? Heather, do you remember?
What's that?
When he asked about the trip, were we on the boat?
No, we were at the
house. Oh, we're at the house. And she was, I had mentioned it to her, and she was like,
being on the boat.
Yeah, she goes, so yeah, go. Why wouldn't you? And I was like, oh, well, this is easy.
Yeah, that makes when you say it like that, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't you? I can't think of a reason.
Right. Yeah. Life is no regrets.
No.
Yeah, Joe had messaged me about it, and I was like, I don't know. I asked Shelby, and she was like, dude, fucking go. Like, that sounds fun. I was like, oh, okay, that's easy enough for me. Like,
has that stipulation.
when I got your approval, even more than I got my own approval on it, like, it's a no-brainer. I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, and Jimmy, you said it before, but it's like when you go on a 4-day ocean fishing adventure in another country, your brain goes to that's got to be $5 to $10 grand at a minimum,
dude.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Jeremy was so like, "We can do it for this much," and I was just like, I can't go salmon fishing for 3 days for that much."
Exactly.
It's so cheap.
Yeah, it's like, and that's before I buy the beer.
Go ahead.
Before I buy the beer.
Heather said her next year's stipulation, though, is she has to go too. I said, great, because that's still cheaper than most trips for 2 of us.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
I think Marty would be all about it. As long as we can find somebody to watch our 3 roommates. It's the roommates.
Not the roommates.
No, man,
one of the other highlights that I liked was, you're not out on the water for like hours and hours and hours on end. You're like just right offshore. You can come back in, run back out. I'm used to, like, when we're going out, you're like out, like you don't see land, until, when you come back. So that was awesome. And then how close it is. I mean, I know it's different for you guys, but for me, it was very surreal to be able to leave the morning and be fishing on a boat halfway down the coast of Baja that afternoon before the sunset. And then when we came home, I was in the office. I made 2 stops. I had to get gas and check the mail, pick up all the checks, get back. It was like 2:30 in the afternoon. I was in my office sitting here working. I'm like, wait, this morning we were fishing. We're way down here on this map. And Jan caught some halibut. Joe caught a yellowtail.
Yeah,
we caught a lot of fish in that hour and a half. Like on 16 pieces of bait, we caught like 4 or 5 fish, I think.
We did.
Yeah. And that was the same with us. I mean, I don't sit still. So I'm like, all right, baseball game. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know, we're fishing in the morning to watching 9 innings of baseball. Later that day, I'm like, this is kind of wild.
Yeah.
That was a low. The baseball game was a highlight. The low light was trying to find a place to pee afterwards. It was impossible.
Oh, dude. And I got.
You got to plan ahead for sure in those in that ballpark.
I definitely peed my pants a little bit. I'm not embarrassed about it. I peed in my pants a little bit. I peed most of it out of my pants though, so I feel like I still won.
I got busted. So Dan found a cool little landscaped area to go. And I was like,
there were some dry shrubs. There were some dry shrubs that needed.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over there. Boom! Who comes out the door? Security guard. And he's like, tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, hey, bud, can't do that here. And I'm like, I was just on the phone. I was on the phone, man. I'm trying to get up my Uber, and he was like, yeah, whatever, get out of here. And I was like, oh, geez, that was a close one.
Yep.
Could have got locked up in San Diego.
Oh yeah, they're on it in certain parts. So like, there's a lot of homeless down there. I don't know where, like,
dude, and there was homeless all around us.
I thought about just being on a homeless person. I didn't know what to do. I like ran to a CVS and the door was locked.
You should have just knocked on the tent, dude. And on the side, I'm like, hey, bro, I'm gonna use your tent.
Dude, where do you guys pee, man? I was in panic. Like, I'm not lying. It was bad planning, poor planning. But we lived.
And then there was no bars we could find afterwards. Like,
oh, you guys must have went out the wrong side of the ballpark then.
We went out the wrong side of the ballpark.
Yeah, the other side.
That was probably a good thing, though.
Probably, yeah. Being that we had to get up the next morning at 4 a.m.
Yeah, Jan was a little bit overserved. Jan was a bit overserved. That's good though. What was I gonna say? I had one earlier. Just going into town. Like going into downtown Cedros, which I assume nobody else knows what Cedros is. There's 3,000 some people that live on the island.
Yeah.
There's the salt plant was kind of cool. We totally misidentified it. We thought they were like desalinating water.
Yeah. We're all trying to put it together.
He said they did have a desalination plant. Like that was where they got their water from, but that wasn't what was creating the salt. It was just a port to like get, because it was deeper, they could get bigger ships in and then like really load them up. But just going into town, like going through town and like stopping at the bait shop and stopping at the liquor/grocery store. And then Big Mike took us up on top of the hill where the cemetery was. And you like awesome. Look out and see everything. It was just freaking cool. Like you just felt like you were part of it. You didn't feel like a tourist.
I'm glad me and you made that trip because that was definitely a highlight. Like getting to actually see the town and like some of these. Big Mike was our guide. He's a Hispanic guy that lives on the island. He's not from there. He's from the mainland, but he made some phone calls to some of these shop owners and got them to open up specifically for us, like the grocery store.
Did he really?
Yeah. The tackle store. Yeah, he got them to open up for us.
I mean, when he's like, "Hey, dude, I got a busload full of gringos. You probably want to open up like hundreds of dollars about to be coming in, so you might as well."
True. Yeah, I mean, and there was hundreds of dollars spent, which is, I'm sure, great.
I mean, probably thousands. Like when you probably a busload of us buying baits and buying booze and whatever else.
Yeah, I mean, it was
the local economy,
and they need it. Cool. You know, I mean, the only other income producing that there was no commercial fishing boats that I saw anywhere there, other than our place, and then the other one with their pongas. They maybe had 10 pongas. I think that one had like 6.
It looks like it's about the same size. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got the salt plant. You know, obviously there's some schools and things like that. To make money there, but the abalone, there was the abalone canning thing that we went past on the way there. But I mean, other than that, I mean, that tourism, I mean, the dollars that these operations are bringing into that town, I mean, it's priceless for them. They're on a freaking island. Like, what are your choices? Like, I don't want to go work a saw plant. My uncle works there. I hate that guy. You know, like you only have so many choices of where you can work and how to make money. Like, you're definitely not going to be mowing lawns there. Like,
No, there's no grass.
You could go into appliance recycling and repair, because I did notice outside of every tiny little house was like 3 busted up appliances.
Yeah.
So there's probably a market for that. Somebody's got they need a little mechanic guy there working on those.
Oh yeah, definitely need a few mechanics for sure.
A lot of tools.
Yeah. There was AutoZones everywhere.
It's just weird seeing, like, I mean, I guess I can't say for sure, but like just the vehicles there, it seems like when somebody's vehicle breaks down, I mean, there didn't seem to be any auto parts stores or anything like that. It's just like they pull them to the side of the road and they rot there.
Yep. It's a pick apart.
Rust away.
They call it pick apart.
Yeah, they didn't put them right to the side of the road, and there was the one like graveyard of vehicles where clearly it was just like, if your car breaks down, just bring it over here, and we're not going to pay you for it, but you can just leave it here, and then anybody else can scavenge it. Yep. Like it's free for the taking, and so if you needed this or you needed that, you're going and dusting off some parts there and trying to make your shit run.
It's sort of like a community garden, you know. I have extra lemons, I have extra oranges over here, and everybody just picks and chooses what they need from each other.
Yep. I need a hose. I need a radiator hose. go garden under this Toyota Fiesta.
Yeah.
What are we missing? What am I missing? Any other business lessons? I feel like I meant to talk about business stuff. I don't remember if we talked about business stuff. I'm sure we did.
You and I talked about business stuff a little during the trip, but as far as relating the trip to business stuff, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Perseverance, you know, stepping outside the box, you know, sticking through when times are tough and just making shit happen.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, and this is, me and Joe have been friends for a couple of years now, and Joe's really shown this to me, and it's just, work and business is important, but this is the reason why we do it.
Oh yeah.
So we have the time, we have the freedom to do these adventures, and that's what life's about. You can always make more money, but these trips are priceless. Like, I'll never forget this. Like, I'll remember it as one of the greatest moments of my life. Like, it was a true blast. And that's what it's about. It's not the jobs. It's not the business. That's what, that's how you climb the ladder to get there. But it's these moments where you get to hang out with other entrepreneurs, other friends, and just really go out and really get to enjoy life. I mean, that's why we do this, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest takeaway for me, and that's always been Joe's thing. I know everybody's always like, "Oh, what's Joe doing today? Joe ain't working. Joe's on the boat." Well, the dude's got it figured out. That's why.
It took him a minute.
Got it figured out.
It took him a minute.
I appreciate Joe. Like, me and Joe barely ever talk business because we just don't. Like, I appreciate that's how we met, but like the relationship we've built outside of that with fishing and, outdoors and hockey and baseball, stuff like that. Like, that's what it's about. Like, the business is cool, and it's important. That's what allows you to be able to do this stuff. But at the end of the day, the memories you can make because of what you're doing, and you have that freedom, that's what it's about.
But it goes back to learning from all these guys way back, and I can say that for Jeremy, when me and JC went out there, and we're in the car with David Carroll on speakerphone, and David's like, "This fucker here's got it figured out," and he's talking about Jeremy, and I'll never forget how he gets up at 10, does what he needs to do, and he's probably still more productive than half the people in business because he learned the art of marketing, sales, delegation, and just putting everything in place in the proper areas. And it really allowed me to come back, analyze, let go, delegate, pay people, and free up time.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that
So-
change. I saw that change in you, Joe, when you came back after that first trip with you and
Yeah.
JC. You know, you went back and you were just like, boom, boom, boom. I started seeing more of you on the boat and everything. I was like, yes, he's got
Yeah.
the lifestyle now.
Yep, it's just you learn from all of us, and when you're out there in these adventures, yes, sometimes we may just be hunting or fishing or talking about that, but there's moments where we talk. I mean, me and Jeremy didn't really get into much except people from 8 to 10 years ago, where they are today, the levels that these guys that are at is tremendous, and just kind of reminiscing more than anything. But sometimes you'll get a lot of stuff from people, and being around like-minded individuals, well, whether we're fishing or talking business, whatever, you're always going to learn from one another when we're together.
We did talk a lot of business pre-ball game too. We were standing at the
Yes.
bar and we were talking shop for quite a while.
We did.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason why doing this sort of stuff with other business owners is so unique and fun is it's hard to have other like really genuine relationships outside of other business owners because it's a weird obsession. Like it consumes us. I don't think it's like an unhealthy level for most of us. But I don't know, like I'm either going to talk about hunting, fishing, kids, sports, or business.
Yeah.
And probably all of them at the same time. And so it's like you got to surround yourself with people that are living that same life, because 99% of other people have no idea, have no appreciation. There's no conversation to be had with somebody that's not like in this small business game. They don't get it. They're not living that same life. And so it's just super fun to go out and do hobbies and adventures with other people that are on that same wavelength. It takes it to another level.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to, I don't know if this is the closing, because who knows what else we're going to talk about if we have other shit to talk about. But I had posted on the old F book that this was the first officially unofficial, because B.O.O.B. LLC is there. You go. I do have one.
I'm
more
ready.
It was the first officially unofficial business owner outdoor badasses event, B.O.O.B. for short. And I gotta like get the whole thing started, which is just like the whole thing. The entity will literally just be a place where it can be like a professional organization, so that it's all tax deductible for us. But it's a mastermind. Like we're clearly going to talk about business. We're going to hang out with other business owners doing big things. But it's just such a unique way to get together, add a bunch of value, do what we're going to go do anyway, but do it with all the right people.
Yep.
And I'm super excited to get that going. It's not the first time we've done this, or I've done this. Jeremy, obviously we did it a little bit when we were down there for Clippa at an ice fishing event with 7 other folks this winter. And that was like
Boundary Waters.
The ice fishing was like the 4th or 5th time I've done that. I've done it with a couple different groups, but I wasn't as intentional about making it like all business owners. Bobby Walker came up and we'd have like a few of us up there for a few years. But there's the opportunity to like do it a little bit bigger and a little more organized and make it easier for everybody. Right. I think having an organization around it make it a little bit easier. I don't want to have an agenda. One of the things I find with what makes these types of things unique for us is like, we know where we're going. We know kind of like who's in charge. Like Joe said, we're just following Jeremy around. Jeremy's in charge. Jeremy, tell us where to go. Tell us where the fish are biting. Tell Pato how to gaff a damn yellowtail.
Tell him how to tie a hook on the fucking line. That was the first test right there. I was like, oh, shit.
I totally forgot. Yeah, he like didn't know how to. I assume maybe it just doesn't. Does it just not matter? Does it just not even matter?
Because there's so many fish, they just don't care. I guess they're just like, whatever.
Yeah, he double overhand knotted. That's the only thing I can think about. That whatever that knot was. Yeah, like
I was sitting there waiting. I'm like, here, put a hook on this, and I'm yo-yoing, right? And I did like 3 to like 5 drops, I would say. And I'm like, I kept looking over, like, when's he going to be done tying that hook on? So I thought he was doing some like crazy bridle thing for the mackerel, like without the mackerel. I was like, that's fucking weird. Like, and finally I fucking set the rod down. I come over and he's like, here, I'm done. And he like hands me a thing. I like look at it. I look at him and I was like, cut that shit right off. I was like, looks like I'm tying all my own hooks on this trip.
Yeah. I
didn't have Boy Scouts.
I tied a lot of Palomar knots, but and 60-pound test of Palomar knot just doesn't slide tight that great.
Yeah.
I noticed.
Mhm.
Like maybe 40-pound and under. It's the way to go. But at 60 pounds,
It's a little
like
too stiff.
it just gets a little stuck.
Yeah.
It's a little stuck. I was spitting on it good. I was spitting on it real good.
Giving it the hawk too.
I was giving it the hawk too, and it just wasn't quite sliding the way I wanted it to.
He'll yawn to a.
Yeah, to a.
I just do my single fisherman's knot, and it held for everything I caught, and that was not even going back through the top. I mean, I know a lot of people would judge me for that, but it's what I tie here because it's quick. You know, you have garage knots, like whenever I'll tie the FG knot and stuff like that. And then you have boat knots, and that's my boat knot. Like, it's windy out there, it's choppy, and I'm like, oh, I can tie this quick, and if I lose it, I lose it. But it's quick.
Yeah, we'll be there soon with the reading glasses too. I noticed, like, once I got past 40 and we dropped down, if I'm fishing anything less than like 15 pound, I'm like, oh crap!
I can't see this shit. Yeah.
Well, that's the same when I go fly fishing.
Yeah, your fingertips don't work as tight.
When I run my fly fishing leaders and they run down to that tiny, tiny line, I mean, I legit put those glasses on from Cabela's, and I used to laugh all the time at people, and I tried them on like 3 months ago, and I'm like, oh, these are pretty cool. So I'll bring them when we go fly fishing now because they help tremendously.
Yep. And all my friends, it happened to all of us at the same time, all my fishing friends. So like we were all out on the boat, and like one of our friends had their like those ones that like click back in, you know.
That's it,
man.
Yeah. Can I borrow your clicky clicks?
Can I borrow your glasses?
Yeah, I need those.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask you to tie my knot. I'll ask you to borrow glasses.
Can I try those out? I just want to see. They look stupid, but I just want to see. Okay, let me try them out quick. Yeah. Let me try them again later when my line breaks again, just to see how they work.
Well, back to touch on your boobs, establishing the that I've been doing trips like this for industry events since like 2016, I would say. Maybe like I think 2014 was probably my first trip when the UAMCC was around. They had some convention. They'd come out. I'd always do like a day and a half or something. Like that was the first time I did like a single day, but it was because there were a bunch of Christmas light guys and I thought they were pussies and wouldn't want to fish. So yeah, we'll just do one day.
Yeah.
But, so anytime you want to go West Coast, you know, again, Costa Rica, I'm going back down there in January. We're doing Cabo in two and a half weeks. We're doing our SoCal Pressure Washing Network trip, 9/11 to 9/18. We do that every year as well. You guys are obviously it's hunting season, so
I'm gonna be in Arizona. We'll swap picks. I'll send you some big.
Exactly, that's the same problem with Joe. Yeah, you guys are hunting during that time, but again, next year, the second week of August, I'm already planning that. We're gonna do sort of like with that same group. We'll book 12. They'll book 12, and then so we'll have our group of people, and we'll have like 4 or 5 more that I'll be able to fill in. No problem.
Heck yeah.
Second week of August. But anything else that comes to mind that you want to do, I'll help out and planning.
Heck yeah.
Jeremy did it for, like you said, way back in the day in the UAMCC. And then when I got involved in that and I started getting to know Thad very well with a huge, I put together, I think it was 3 years in a row for hog hunts, one in Atlanta, maybe 2 in Atlanta. And then we did a fishing charter in New Orleans, and we had 3 boats go out for black drum, redfish, and I forget what else, but that was a good turnout for what it was. So I think, like, even Dan has stated before, if we kind of find our hot spots of doing things, I kind of like this idea of the surf fishing for the reds, where we all just kind of chill on the beach and hang out.
That'll be sweet.
That'll be a cool October-ish thing. If I know that's kind of hunting season, but we're still going to have to sacrifice somewhere.
Yeah.
So
and there's gonna be, I think, kind of the beauty of it is not everybody is going to want to do every trip and can do every trip, right? And so I don't know if it's 4 a year that we do or 6 a year or whatever. You need somebody to lead it, right? To hook it up, and I think we'll use an admin off the get go. We'll just use my admin; she can like help me coordinate stuff. But eventually, if we have enough trips and enough people, like B.O.O.B. will have its own admin to like coordinate stuff and make sure everybody knows and has the itinerary, knows what tickets to get, and knows what licenses to get, and all that stuff. There'll be a designated Dan or Jeremy or Joe or Jimmy or whoever will be like the lead that knows the spot that we want to go and knows the charter and knows where to go and how to go. Yep. And so we'll just figure it out as we go. For sure, I want to do an ice fishing event every year because it's just unique. It's just goofy. Everybody should do it at least once. And I think
I want to throw Costa Rica in there around the same time. I know ice fishing when it's fucking cold as shit up there and it's perfect, but that's summertime down over there. So you're going to get people that want to do that. And then 2 weeks later, be able to go down and hang out primetime fishing, 2-hour flight, like down. I mean, it's like compared to like Cedros, it's like the same thing. Like for your value for the dollar, it's 100 colones to 1 USD. That's what their currency is down there. So look up colones and you're like, oh, okay. Like you get a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah, I got big colones, dog.
Yeah.
And now, J-Dog, what would you fish down that way mainly?
It depends on what you want to do. So they have
rooster fish. We're gonna go get a rooster fish down there.
They have rooster fish. You'll do. So when we went last time, we did 2 days inshore, 2 days offshore. So inshore, you're going to get snappers, rooster fish, snook. They have mangroves down there. So if you want to go in the mangroves, that'll be more like what you're used to, where they have the tarpon. They have peacock bass, big ones. I mean, everything. It's like cool. It's like Cedros. Everything's times 10 down there. You know, like your bait is like this fucking big. You know, it's like you have these tubes. Like when you go tuna fishing, you're catching tuna to catch a tuna. You're like, okay.
That threw me off. When I was in Costa Rica fishing, like we caught a bonita and it was 20 inches long, and the dude like put that out as bait, and I was like, the fuck, like But like at the time, until you just said that, I was like, nah, like that doesn't make any sense. Like, what are we trying to catch? Like, are we trying to catch a shark? Are we trying to? But now it makes sense because they do all eat tremendously big fish. That's
exactly. The bigger they are, they like less work for them. The bigger fish they can eat, the less work they got to do on the next meal.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but they have all kind. I mean, obviously, other than the other excursions that you have, like in the jungle, and I don't know. Did you do any family excursions or anything when you went down to Costa Rica? Did you do any hiking?
Yeah, we did some like hiking and horseback and some. There were some like natural hot springs that were pretty cool.
Yeah,
nothing like the spear fishing. If we go down there, we got to jump on in and shoot a couple. It's just so cool.
Snorkeling? Is it snorkeling or you got the?
We were snorkeling. We were snorkeling. We did scuba. We did scuba as well, but we didn't fish when we scubaed. Then we were fishing, and the fish weren't biting, and then we just dove in and shot them, and that was cool. That was super cool. Yeah, got a parrotfish, got a triggerfish, got a little grouper, got a little mini grouper. Made ceviche out of that. That was delish.
Yeah, I think everybody should experience that country. And I know Joe's daughter just got back from there. She was there while we were down in Cedros. What was her feedback on that country as far as her experience?
I mean, she absolutely loved it, right? Yeah. Heather's here on the boat with me. She's like, she just talked about it nonstop. And then she sent us a bunch of pictures and, not for fishing, obviously, but the hiking down there and the waterfalls. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah. Very cool.
So there's gonna be a lot of fishing. What hunting is a little tougher. Like I want to do some hunting stuff, but it's like it'd be hard to do. There will be people that go on an elk hunt. There will be people that go on a whitetail hunt or a mule deer hunt or a pronghorn hunt or a name your hunt. But it'll be like one-offs. Like, hey, us three. Like I drew a tag. You want to go? Whatever. We did a Kentucky hunt the last 2 years. Cole Sycophus, who was on earlier, and total boob. Dude's total boob. He'll be in. Ben Smith, total boob. He's in. And then Eric Trice jumped in, who has a pressure washing business out east. Who else went the first year? Oh, our buddy Jerry went the first year. He's a farmer. Jerry's a farmer. Good old boy. But so like that was kind of an offshoot thing. I wouldn't say that's like a boob thing. Kind of like this was like, oh, let's just try this. This is like 4 of us. Let's hook up. But my intent for the boob events is we'll try to hit it around like 10 people. There might be some where we can do 20, but a lot of times I think it'll just be like 10. It'd be small, easier to coordinate. Kind of first, whoever signs up and pays, you'll have to like pay a half down and non-refundable type of thing. Because if you back out, somebody's got to fill the void, right? And then we'll open it up to whoever's on the wait list or whatever. So we'll figure out how to coordinate that all. And if there's tons of demand, we'll create more events, right? And we'll just try to facilitate so people that want to go aren't. It's not like, oh damn, I didn't
make it. You saw.
I might not get to go for another year because there's so much demand for these events. I got to sign up 2 years in advance. Like it doesn't want to be like that, right? We'll build it so that it can facilitate all the events. I think a super cool hunting one, like pheasant hunting in South Dakota, would be a shitload of fun with a big group. There's outfitters that you could do that with. I think duck hunting down in the South, like on the Mississippi Flyway, Central Flyway, around like Missouri, Arkansas, down there, where they have huge blinds where they're like double decker and they're like cooking in them, and you're like damn near sleeping the things.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
be super cool to do with a group of dudes. And to Joe, to your point, like that would conflict with people that are out deer hunting, but like not everybody's gonna go. If there's 50 of us in the group, like 10 people are gonna go on that trip, right? Not everybody's gonna be going on every trip, and our spouses probably wouldn't let us go on every trip. Like our finances might not afford every trip. But just cool different opportunities so people can engage in the ones they want to engage in. And the big thing is somebody will need to lead each one that knows the thing and is willing to help facilitate it. And then we'll have an admin that helps like organize all of us, because we're a bunch of yahoos, and you got to email this guy and you got to call that guy, and that guy only responds to text messages. So like some admin dealing with all of us assholes. But
damn business owners.
Yeah.
I'd like to do the hog hunting one. I mean, we have the ability to have probably, I'd say 12 to 15 people here for a weekend. I've got the lodging. I know the people well, and if it's coordinated, the bait can get out there in time. And it's all at night. You get to team up in these stands with one or two of your buddies and get back at 3 a.m, throw breakfast together, and crash out until the time that Jeremy normally wakes up around noon, and
then you
be
can all
ready to
hang
rock
out
again.
together. Yeah.
It'd be a blast.
That would be a super fun.
That definitely jives with my schedule.
It's a good time, man. It's. I went with Joe for the first time this year, and although I was the only person who saw pigs, and I just got done building a new 6.8 SPC AR, and I took it to the firing range right before I went to the stand, like right before I went to the stand, blasted off probably 6 or 7 rounds, and it was like got it dead on. And like no problems. I get out there, he carries me like probably a mile back in the swamp, and I'm by myself in this sketchy ladder. I hate to like downpour, but I'm in a sketchy ladder stand, and I'm up there, and I'm like, oh, this is sketch, and it's it's
every
dark
ladder
starting to
stand in the
come.
darkest sketch. Like
Well,
they
dude,
can be
it's
the
like
most
to
Taj
get
Mahal
to the
ladder
stand
in
to get to the
dark.
stand, you need hip waders, and you're not walking through this water. This is like
It's a wallow. It's a wallow, man. You're right in
dude,
the
this is
pig.
some
The
serious
pigs are
muck.
you're rolling around with them.
And I'm like, I'm not getting out of here quick, nor do I remember how the guide got us in here walking in. Like, I just don't even remember. And anyway, I see a pig pop up, and he's with a couple deer. The deer come off, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm going to take him. Hit the trigger, click. And I was like, this is dumb. So I'm like, whatever. I'm sure other people are seeing them. Couple hours pass. I hop back on it. I'm looking through the night vision. Boom, I got another one out there. And, like I checked my bolt, took it out, inspected it, everything looked good, and put it back in, click. And I'm like, son of a bitch, man. Like, this is not, and I saw the only pig the whole trip, which sucked because everybody's like, like I wish somebody else would have been on that stand because anybody else's gun probably would have gone bang.
I was gonna say, did you figure out what the hell was happening with the gun?
So I think probably a little under oiled. Probably a little dry. Gotta be lubed up. The gun. I've run it again. It likes to be run wet. So
kind of like Joe slapping mullets in his crotch.
That's right.
Flounder pounder, baby.
That's
but
right.
no, just to
Reset
you get
baby
out
up.
the stand at 2 or 3 in the morning. You come back. Joe cooks a mean breakfast on the Blackstone. I got to give it to him. He's a damn good Blackstone cook. Like eggs, bacon, sausage, deer sausage. Going to town. We're cracking beers at 3 a.m. for the first.
Is it all the Tecates you can drink?
No, not all the Tecates you. Well, I guess so. I mean, and we're in the little hunting lodge, and we're like sleeping on couches, and dude, it's a blast. You got the fireplace going, like with real logs, and like it's just it's an awesome experience. Like you can't even put it into words until you experience it. And it's
We gotta start creating a Google Doc. We gotta start a boob Google Doc for all these things. Ed said he's in Duluth right now on a vacay, but he's watching the boobs. That's cool. He's in Duluth watching boobs.
This is that John boat coming in.
Antonio said, Dan, you're not at the huge this year. I am not. I am here talking to these guys. I gotta prioritize my trips. Also, my wife is traveling right now, and like she's traveled so much, and I've traveled so much that it's just a prioritization of travel. Actually, my wife went out. She works for 3M. Amazon and 3M do a lot of business together. Obviously, Amazon wants more business from 3M, so they're hosting a bunch of people from 3M, including my wife. And 21 Pilots is playing, so my wife is at a 21 Pilots concert.
Nice.
Right now. I'm a little bit jealous. Like,
Dude,
that would be a sweet show.
I need to get up with you and ask your wife. There was a tape I used for property protection forever. 3M tape that was phenomenal, and it's gone this year. Like even my Sherwin-Williams rep is like, "Yeah, dude, it's gone." And it was
What the hell's that guy
tape.
doing?
Dang.
What's up with that guy? Who's he? Did you flick him off? Did you flick him off when he went by?
Dude, they were out here.
Can't nobody see you out there? It's dark
Holy
as
shit.
They were out here earlier in these John boats, and I'm gonna say they're 12, maybe 14 footers, and they're running 150s on the back.
I was gonna say, like, that thing is just turbo, dude.
Dude, they started like screaming up by the no wake zone earlier, pissing everybody off, and this was 4 hours ago. And I could hear them coming back up from the other bridge. I'm like, I bet that's those John boats. And one's running with no lights, and the other guy's like trying to shine the light ahead of him at 80 coming through here. I'm like, God damn.
Man, that is
the
that's some redneck shit.
Coming
The
in hot.
motors are right next
I
to
was
the
gonna
jet
say,
skiers. So
Like, aren't in the dark? Aren't you supposed to be going like kind of half speed because it's dark out? And
Well, I mean, you
you're
can
not
do what
supposed
you
to
want.
open
Like,
it open?
even a lot of the Freemans down here actually run night vision on their Simrads or their, so you
Yeah.
could see. I guess you can kind of do what you want. I mean, I'm not sure, but
Just
they
not
definitely were.
beyond it. Yeah, they were. I mean, I feel like no matter what the rules are, they would do whatever they want.
yeah, I mean, when you got
Running a
$20,000
$100
worth of FLIR, it's
that-
easy to go fast at night.
Does the boat just kind of sit in the water like this? Just like
No,
just,
but earlier you could just barely see the guy's head sticking up because I think he might have been half scared. But you could just see his head, and he's like just hammers the throttle and just gone. It was sitting pretty flat, but I'm like, damn, dude, we get the slightest wind, you're going for a ride.
Yep.
I mean, I would imagine when you're going, it would sit flat, but I feel like when you stop going, like the weight of that motor on a little boat would just be like at a 30, just tilted up. Just
I'm not sure. He looked like my Tesla on water. He was about 0 to 80 in 4 seconds.
We got on plane real quick.
Yeah.
Ron's in the house. What's happening, Ron?
Must
So, anything else? Did we miss anything, guys? Did we miss anything from Cedros? Did we miss anything about B.O.O.B.s? Business owner, outdoor badasses, that is. Just to clarify, just an acronym. I'm pumped. I don't know. I was thinking about like when the first official event is, because I gotta like. This was I mean, we've been, Jeremy, to your point, we've been doing outdoors events with other business owners for a while. I just want to make it an official thing.
Yeah.
And I want sweet business owner outdoor badasses apparel. And with the B.O.O.B. acronym, I feel like there's going to be a ton of ideas about it. I feel like when we get together, that might be what we talk about mostly, is what type of
The
apparel we want.
swag.
Yeah, we want some sweet swag.
Like the swag.
Well, I think the ice fishing event would probably
Tab
be your
Cobbler?
best for the first.
I think that was what I was thinking. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can get some of that.
You
Get some
need to let Jeremy get up with that, because he can come up with like neck gaiters and like flat bill caps and like all kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
We'll get to work on some logo action for sure. Yeah, I think the ice fishing event will be a good like first one, but we'll start building the calendar of events now, because ice fishing will be pretty easy to coordinate if we start now. Boundary waters, we can the permit applications are like usually the beginning of February, somewhere around there, so we can start getting, or maybe it's end of February, but we'll start like getting those in place ahead of time. The one thing that tends to happen that I want to make sure we alleviate or have a plan for, and we talked about this while we were all together, which is we gotta alleviate or de-risk the people being like, yeah, I'm in, and then backing out.
Right.
And so
Deposit. Half
You
deposit.
gotta
Yep.
put some skin in the game.
well, everybody will pay a due, and if there's and like I'll do the books, and we'll have open books, and if there's a surplus, we'll put it back into events. And if you say you're gonna go, you pay a 50% deposit, and if you do, or whatever, if
Whatever it is.
if B.O.O.B. has to pay, you have to pay, type of thing. And if you don't go, you don't get the money back, you forfeit it. And that's just gonna be a clause that we all agree to. We'll get that in writing. And then that goes to support whoever goes to the event. So the money goes to your fellow
Yeah,
boobs.
no, it'll go to the beer fund. Like we got to make sure we have beers from the time we get on the bus to wherever we're going.
Yeah.
You know, like
Priorities.
That's we call that the beer fund.
Or if we need to go into town and buy $300 worth of baits.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
you.
What do you got there?
Oh, you got one. Yeah, hook up.
Little trout.
Trout,
While I was sitting down listening.
Yeah, taste
Hey.
it.
See, I think if we did the hog hunt, March would be a good time frame, don't you think, Jimmy?
I think so. Yeah, March is like even back when I used to like for my senior project in high school, I built a hog trap, and like we would trap the majority of our hogs in March and April, especially the ones with any size because you've got rains coming in then. The lowlands are staying wetter. You're not
No
dealing
bugs.
with you're not dealing with the bugs. You're not dealing with the crazy summer heat. And the other beautiful thing about Cedros and even Cali, I mean, humidity like that we have down east. Like it's
There you go.
oh
I
yeah,
hope you're
that's
rocking more than one thermocell. I feel like it's like a 3.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yeah, I
what
was gonna say surround sound thermocell.
yeah. I asked Joe. He had the Huck bibs on earlier, and I was like, dude, did it rain there? He's like, hell no, the mosquitoes are ferocious.
Oh
yeah, they're horrible.
Dude, in the boundary waters, like it's probably par for the course. I mean, like, you know, deep woods off for sure. But if you want to be able to breathe too, then you need like 3 thermocells around your belt. Just like it's just you can get carried away by them. They're just nasty. They're everywhere. But like that's what they make bug spray for, and that's why you walk fast and breathe and, like breathe in your nose, breathe out your mouth.
Dude,
Blow them away.
we don't have that kind of crazy shit. I mean, we do have mosquitoes here. I'm not gonna lie, you know, but we're nothing like that's crazy compared to like what I hear in like Florida and stuff, some of the swamps. But I got bit by that damn horsefly on the trip, and I still got a fucking thing right here, like a I thought it was a bee sting, and it ended up being a horsefly bite.
I've got
It's still going away.
I got 6 horsefly bites tonight alone.
Oh fuck!
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
those are so painful. Like
You tasty, Joe.
Stupid.
Damn. Yeah,
I'll
I'm
take
surprised you don't get a
mosquitoes
net
all day
around
over
your
horsefly bite.
cabin.
Ask how many I got.
Yeah, Heather didn't get any. She shut up.
Because she smells
More-
good.
I was gonna say there's more meat on Joe. Meat on Joe. Like this guy looks
He's an
tasty.
easier target.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, what do we miss? Anything else? We got any closers? Anybody got any closing comments?
I got food,
Oh, that's nice.
delivery, some
Dog, you got a
pre-roll
dog in there? You got a
tacos.
brat? Oh, taco action.
Pre-roll tacos. Oh,
Man.
I think I'm gonna make me a little popcorn. I think I'm gonna make me a little popcorn tonight.
and
Feels
the
like
fresh
popcorn.
beer, courtesy of the wife. Thank you,
Shit.
April.
She's
Delivery
crushing.
service.
She gets my vote. She's crushing it.
She's
MVP.
hired.
What'd you get there? What do you got there, Joe? Little trout?
Bait.
Oh yeah.
Pap, 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 pap. Who's winning? You or Heather?
I'm up now, right? Yeah.
Okay.
She was up earlier, but I'm ahead now.
So give it a little Hawk 2 on it.
Yeah, that always works.
She's yelling at me for tangled lines, but
Oh.
sometimes that's what happens. You cross your poles every now and then.
That's why you cross your poles. That's not good. I don't, I'm pretty good at catching butts, and I know for sure you don't want to cross tips when you're trying to get some butts.
No sword fighting.
No. There's a hilarious, when you go ice fishing, I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to show you it in advance until you come up ice fishing. There's a really old video that you got to work your ass off to find. And it's Packer fan Bill here. And I'm like half as outrageous as he is. And he does quite the mantra on the white worm. and how to use your white worm in the hole. And it's the best fishing video I've ever seen. He crushed
Man,
it.
you said Packers, and it just made me think I got to change these lights to purple instead of green.
You're missing one. You're missing a yellow light in there, but otherwise,
I
looking
know.
real good. Looking real good. Well, dudes, it's been fun. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next one. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
happening.
gonna be a blast.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Yep.
Well, home service homies, business nerds, if you're outdoorsy and you want to be in, I don't know what the voting process is, but it's not for everybody. I'm gonna just say it's exclusive. It's not for everybody. There needs to be a ridiculously unanimous vote to be allowed in, because it's just all about having the right. It's just about
Group
having
of people. Yeah.
got to be the right
It's like
people.
the Elks Lodge.
It's just that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not inclusive. It's exclusive, and that's just what it's going to be. And it's going to be small, and but we're going to do it. It's coming. Invite only. But let me know. Let me know if you're interested, and we'll see if you get an invite. And like I said, I don't know. Well, I don't want bad blood, because not everybody that wants in is going to get in, and so I'll be the
hammer.
I'll be the messenger. I'll be the messenger. I'll be the one delivering the message. But it will be a unanimous and what's the word I'm looking for? The word for the thing where you don't know who it is. There's a word for
unanimous.
That. Well, unanimous is like majority.
Oh, animosity.
Anonymous.
You're
Anonymous.
anonymous.
That was the problem. I was looking for anonymous, and
Yeah.
unanimous is so close to it. It's going to be a unanimous yet anonymous.
Anonymous.
Damn, that's yeah. So I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the messenger if you don't get in. I'll be the messenger if you get in. That's the sword I'll fall on. But
Well,
if you're
you've
interested,
got to have a board of boobs.
I do. Jeremy's on the board. Did I tell you you're on the board, Jeremy? My buddy Ben is on. I assume Joe's on the board. Like, I feel like Joe's a good board member. My buddy Duke will be the ultimate. Duke is full of shit all the time, and doesn't fuck around at the same. Like, the type of dude that, like, you can't tell if he's joking or serious, but he doesn't fuck around. He just sold his business. He's retired. He's not even 50 yet. He sold his business. He's retired. He works at a golf course because he can't sit still. Like, what the hell is he doing? But other than that, all he does is hunt and fish. And so he's like a honorary board member because he doesn't own a business anymore, but he knows a thing or two about owning a business. He had a really good metal stamping shop. So he's an honorary board member. And then Ben Smith, who runs Marvel Sewer and Drain, that's as outdoorsy as outdoorsy gets. He's a board member. So that's my board as of now, is like who's voting. And I'm the messenger. I'll be the messenger. But most of all, just if you want to go on a hunting fishing trip, let us know. We'll see. We'll start organizing them. It'll generally be invite, but if you want to get invited, let me know.
Hit us up.
Throw your name in the hat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for this.
Jeremy.
Man. Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us, man. Like, how freaking cool was that?
Thank you.
How freaking cool was that? I'm glad it all came together. I'm really glad that I felt a little intimidated with Jeremy, Joe, and Jimmy, and then Dan. But once we figured out that I was Jan and that I could be Jan, then I really felt like I fit in, which is real nice for me. I appreciate
No judgments.
Yeah, thanks for letting me fit in. All right, guys.
No regrets.
That's right.
Not even a single letter. Fun trip. I loved it. Can't wait to do it again. Thank you guys for hanging out and doing a little recap podcast. These are so fun to do anyway. Just it's like helps you relive the moments.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in, business nerds. Thank you guys, as always. Work smarter and harder. Go earn yourself some pride. Good night.